Today we're covering a topic that was requested of us by friends of ours, Scott and Charlotte, you know who you are, and that is, what is the setup and teardown process of our RV while boondocking? But before we get into that, if any of you have any questions or you want to see a specific topic covered in a video, go ahead and drop those requests in the comments below and we might make a video on it. Today is a perfect day to show our setup and teardown process because it's an actual travel day for us. We're leaving our current site near Lake Pleasant Regional Park in Arizona, and we're heading east to New Mexico. Typically, Jenni and I do as much as we can the night or evening before we leave because we are habitual night arrivers to our campsite, so we got to give ourselves as much of a head start as possible because if we can save 15 or 30 minutes by doing some things the night before, that has sometimes been the difference between having sunlight and not having sunlight. And trust me, you do not want to arrive at a boondocking location at night because usually there's multiple places that you can stay, and if you arrive at night, then it's really hard to be able to pick the best site for you. It's just so much better to have that daylight so you can pick the best site, and also it's just so much easier to set up with light, obviously. But I typically handle the outside. I do all the things that need to be done on the outside of the trailer while Jenni handles the inside. So let's go see what she does the night before to get ready.
We've saved everything we do the night before for today, just so that everything in this video that we're showing you is all in the same video. And things that I start with inside the night before is I typically do, you know, dishes if there are any. We don't have any dishes, so. And then I'll do like general tidiness on the counters, which I don't need to do. And I will pull the baskets down actually and put them all in the tub. And I'll clean all the litter boxes all the night before. Now, I didn't pull the baskets down just so I could show you, but our tub isn't very big and I have many baskets to put in here. So what I'll do is I'll take them down. The most full ones do have, they just go in here. And I'll get the tub ready basically for things. And we've noticed it's pretty typical. We're not the only ones that utilize the tub for everything while we're traveling. We know of many people that do. So I'll grab those baskets, and I have more baskets over here. And these baskets don't, typically on travel days, these baskets don't have much in them because we like to provision on our way to places so that we are completely full on food when we get there. So, you know, our veggie basket and our fruit basket are empty right now. So I'll take all of these and put them in the tub. And I just kind of make sure that there's nothing hanging on the walls so that mostly everything I have to do in the morning is just stuff on the countertops, putting it away. So that means the mug's gotta go in the tub too. This is kind of done. I have quite a few other things that go in the tub, but a lot of those things we use the morning before, like our Berkey. We have a keys container kind of by the door, but as long as nobody needs to shower in the morning, I will just pack this as full as I can. Also the night before, we want our desk area as clear as possible, so because we won't be using our laptops or any of our electronics in the morning, I will put all of that away the night before. And then whatever's left on the counter typically goes in the cat's basket, but I want that left out overnight so the cats can lay in it, so I save that for the morning. But other than that, the desk is clear. That's about all I do the night before we leave, besides, you know, chores and general tidying because we live in here. So there's not a whole lot I can do, but David has some things that he does outside before we leave, so let's go out there and check out what he does.
And one of the biggest time-saving things that I do the night before is that I'll tilt the solar panels down if they've been tilted up. Now in this case, I never tilted them up to begin with in this campsite, but if they are, then they go flat the night before. The next thing I'll do the night before is put away all of the, you know, random living things that we have out. So for instance, the folding chairs, this little table that's between them, the rug, and also if we've got any drying racks out, those will get put away in the bed of the truck as well. The next thing I do is I go ahead and unlock our hitch lock as well as the latch lock because I don't think anyone's gonna be stealing our trailer in the middle of the night while we're sleeping in it, so we don't need these on anymore the night before. And then I'll go ahead and take these bike locks off that I use to secure our chairs, those folding chairs, while we're gone. I'll go ahead and take those off and put these in the bed of the truck as well. And then I'll also take our tire covers off of the tires that are on here, on both sides of the trailer actually, just to protect the tires from UV damage. Those go in the bed of the truck as well. And then I check both the tire pressures on the truck as well as the travel trailer just to minimize any chance of blowouts. On my truck, the rear wheels are supposed to be at 80 PSI, front at 55 PSI, and for our travel trailer, they are at 65 PSI because they are load range D trailer tires. And then another safety check I'll perform is I will check the lug nut torque on the trailer because Keystone recommends before every trip to just check the lug nut torque. Ours are supposed to be 115 pound-feet, and believe it or not, every now and then I'll have one that is not to spec, so this is definitely something that we make sure we do before each trip. This is our home after all, the stakes are high. We do not want a tire coming off on the highway. That one was loose.
Was it?
Yeah. Not like loose, but it was not to spec. And then the very last thing I do the night before to prepare for our leaving is I take inside Lola and Perp. These two don't get very much attention, but they've actually been with us the entire journey since day one. Actually, before day one. We had these for about a year before we hit the road. They go inside.
And the last thing we do the night before we leave is we put Lola and Perp in the tub with everything else because they'll be safe in the tub. Now it's on to everything we do the morning that we leave, and I always start with everything on the bed side of the trailer. I like to move all of these boxes down and under the covers so that they're safe. I don't know how necessary this is, but we like to do it for peace of mind that none of these boxes are going to fall down. And then I like to cover them with this blanket like that so that they don't, you know, tip over or anything, because we like to go down a lot of rocky and bumpy BLM places. That's really kind of all I do over here. I used to put a lot of stuff on the bed, but I don't really anymore. The only things that go on the bed now are our chairs. Now the reason I put the chairs on the bed is mostly for weight. They're actually not all that heavy, but we used to lay them down on the carpet by our desks, but they got really in the way when it came time to put everything back. I just slowly work backwards from the bed all the way to the back of the trailer. So next is the bathroom, and I don't just load up the tub, I load up the bathroom sink too. You know, the tub, the sink, they're great containers for holding stuff while we're moving down the road. And I put things in the sink like everything that's on the counter in the bathroom. Now I finish up everything in the bathroom, and that includes putting the Berkey in the tub. There, nice and secure. The last thing I have to do in the bathroom before moving on to the rest of the trailer is close and lock the max fan. To close it, I just turn the knob, and then to lock it, you just push the knob up. Once I'm done with the bathroom, I just literally start going over the counters, and I put everything away that needs put away, except my spices. I leave my spice rack exactly how it is because there's this massive lip in here, and it just holds it all in there really nice. So I'll put things like these away, under the sink, and actually really all that's left on the counter then is this, and this goes under the desk. And then basically all that's left is everything on the desk and on our kitchen table here, and I just kind of put it all under the desk. It's safe on the floor, so that's where it goes. Plus, I actually use the cat box right there to put a bunch of stuff in, so Butters is gonna have to move. Sorry, big kitty. Hey, can you come out now? Come on. Come on. Oh, my big kitty. Everything that I think is slightly fragile I'll put in this box, just so in case things start sliding around, they don't really get damaged. like paperwork and other electronics that I didn't get put away the night before. And then all of this just goes on the floor. The last thing that I have to do over here is secure our kitchen table. And to do that, I just put the leg out. It can't fall over now. And then the last thing that I put under is the stove cover because I don't want it banging around. We don't have it secured to the stove, so it's gonna go on the floor too. The last thing I do, since this table does bang around while we're driving down the road, is I cover it up around all the edges to make sure it doesn't bang around on the cabinet and the desk and the wall, to keep it nice and secure. And then all we have left to do is put all of the animals in the truck. And normally I would do that right now because David would be outside finishing up all the outside stuff, but he's holding the camera, so I don't want to put the pets in the hot truck right now. So we're going to go outside and David's going to show you all the stuff he does outside to get us ready first thing in the morning.
First thing I do in the morning is I will drain our freshwater tank because if it's full, that'll take a little bit of time. So we don't have to, if I do it first, we don't have to wait on that. And the reason I drain the freshwater tank is two reasons. First off, it just lets any sediment or iron deposits or whatever is in there drain out so that when we fill it back up, it's nothing but clean water. And then I also drain it to save some weight. Our fresh gallon tank is 54 gallons, so let's say it were full or near full, that can be over 400 pounds of water, and that's a lot to just haul around for no reason. Next, I'll go ahead and remove the xtalks from both sides of the trailer. And if you don't know what xtalks are, these are awesome. They help stabilize the trailer when it's sitting. If you don't have these, have someone go inside your trailer, your fifth wheel, and have them walk around. You'll see these tires will move back and forth and it adds to instability. So these things really help stabilize the trailer, and they kind of give peace of mind. If you're on a hill or somewhat, if you don't quite trust chocks, these really lock these tires down with each other so they can't roll. So I'll pop these off and put them in the bed of the truck with just about everything else out here. And then I'll go ahead and raise all 4 stabilizer jacks, and the wood goes in the back of the truck as well. And before I move it, when I'm in an area like this where there are scorpions that could have dug under it and made a home, I'll just kind of kick it with my foot and make sure there's nothing under there that's gonna bite me or sting me. And then we have this big tote that we store all the stuff that we just took off the trailer in. So all of our wood, the xtalks, the hitch lock, and the various tools we use to set up and tear down all go nice and neatly in this tote. Right before we hook the trailer up to the truck, I go ahead and clean the ball hitch off of all the greasy grime and sand that's accumulated on it. And then I go ahead and apply a nice, clean, not too thick coat of new grease.
And now it's time to hook the truck up to the trailer.
And then once the trailer is down on the truck, we just make sure all the various connections are made that need to be made. For instance, the latch is down. We have our latch lock on. The emergency chains are both hooked up to the truck, and I twist them because, I'll show you, when they're a little twisted, they don't hang quite as low. Takes up some of that slack. You can see this is hanging really low. So I go ahead and just twist these up a little bit to take up some of the slack so they're just not grinding or I guess dragging on just about anything that's a little higher, like speed bumps or whatever. Make the electrical connection with the trailer to the truck. And then the last thing is the emergency brake. In case the trailer gets separated from the truck, this pulls and it applies the electric brakes on the trailer. And that's it. And then kind of just double check everything that it's all good. And that's it for hooking up. I guess other than putting this wood away that we were using for the tongue jack, also in that tote, that yellow and black tote. And by this time, the fresh tank is finished draining, so go ahead and put the plug back in. And then I go ahead and grab the yellow chocks out because they're not doing any leveling. On the other side, we've got Anderson levelers, so those actually need to be removed with help of the truck because you roll up onto them.
Once David's ready for me to get these Anderson levelers out from under our tires, I go ahead and stand over here, I give him directions on what to do so that we can get off of them safely. And then he puts them away for me. And from here on out, we're going to leave the truck running because we're going to bring the animals from inside the trailer into the truck and leave the AC on for them because on a warm day like today, we want to make sure they're comfortable. But first, I need to grab the rabbit's travel cage out of the truck, which stays in the truck at all times. The first one to go in the truck is Butters because as long as I can get to her, I'm grabbing her because she likes, once she knows that we're leaving, she likes to hide. So we're gonna go ahead and put her in the truck now so she can't hide in the trailer.
No, you gotta wait. You wait your turn.
Next one to go in the trailer is Sweetie because she's a very good girl, but she gets in the way when I'm trying to get the rabbits ready. Good girl. Good girl. Paw. Nope. Hang on. You're not quite ready yet. There we go. All right, go on. And the next one is Alice. She's the easiest. She's excited to leave. She loves going outside. She's so easy to grab. We put the rabbits' potty box and their food in here so that they have everything they need while we're traveling down the road, except water because they'll dump their water all over. So we definitely make sure we make enough frequent stops for the animals so that they can have water on the trip. And with that, everyone's ready to go.
Sweetie girl. Hi. Now we catch.
Now before we leave, David and I each do our own walkthrough. I do a walkthrough of the outside and David does a walkthrough of the inside to make sure that we've double checked that everything is done. And then also in that process, we ask each other questions to make sure we've done something. So on the outside, what I'll check is I'll make sure that all of the storage bays are closed and locked. I'll make sure that there's nothing left on the tires. I'll make sure that the step is up. I'll make sure that the hood vent is closed, all that good stuff. And then the last thing I do is I double check that all the connections to the truck are completely done and good.
And while Jenny's double checking my work outside, I double check her work inside. And basically I just make sure there's nothing loose just on the ground that should have been put up and that everything is just secure. Max fan is closed, the fridge is set to propane, and that's our teardown process. we're all set to go. We'll see you at the next campsite.
The very first thing we do when we arrive at a new campsite is we get all the animals ready. So we take all the animals out of the truck, we get them all into the RV, including the rabbits. We take the rabbits out of their travel cage, we get them food and water, because they're almost always thirsty when we arrive at a new campsite. And then once the animals are all taken care of, we move on to the next step. But you know how we said yesterday morning when we were leaving our other campsite that we are habitual night arrivers? Well, this was no exception. I think it was 9 o'clock when we finally rolled through this area. Well after dark. So we decided to go ahead and go about 20 miles past this camping area to the nearest Walmart, which we called ahead for, verify that we were allowed to overnight stay there, and we went there. By the way, the Walmart in Silver City, New Mexico, not only do they allow overnight parking, but it is the quietest Walmart we have ever stayed in. It was amazing. We actually enjoyed staying at that Walmart for once, so it's okay. But yeah, we decided to wait till morning and just spent the night at a Walmart instead.
Was it worth it?
It was worth it. It was so worth it. Yes, we pulled into this camping area. The ground is a little soft in places. It's a little sandy, so I'm very glad we didn't try and pull in here when it was dark outside. Some of you may have noticed in the drone shot when we were pulling in here that I was standing outside with my arms outstretched and David was backing up to me. Now, this is just how we do it, but what we do when we get to a campsite is first we find out where due south is. We typically want our solar panels or the front of our trailer or our door side or whatever you want to call it facing due south as much as possible.
Because the solar panels face south.
Yeah, because the solar panels face south. So first I found due south, which is this way. So I figured, all right, I kind of want the trailer to face due south. Well, over this last year and a half, David and I have found out what works for us, and that is I pick where I want the door to go. We kind of discuss it, and then I get out, I stand outside like a weirdo with my arms outstretched where I want the door to stop. David lines the trailer up with me. This is really absurd, but he lines the trailer up with me so that he can stop it right where the door is where I'm standing, and it works. It's just really,
it's because it's really easy for me to see your arms out and I just have to get the trailer parallel to your arms.
Yep. So that's kind of what we figured out over the last year and a half. It's a little goofy, but hey, it works.
When we first pull into a site, we do kind of try and put the trailer in an area that is the most level, just so that we don't have to have one side of the trailer way up or the front way up or way down. And this site is actually really level. So now that the animals are taken care of, the first thing we need to do is level the trailer side to side. And we do that using these Anderson levelers. You can see they're curved So as you pull up onto these, it just increases the lift on one side of the trailer so that you can level it horizontally. And Jenni just holds a bubble level up to the front door as I'm pulling the trailer up onto this.
And then on the other side, whichever other side that is, we also chalk it. I bang it all in with this mallet so that they're nice and secure. But this is typically where I'm done helping David. He does everything else outside, and then I set up the inside. But since we're wanting to show both of those, and I'm David's camera woman, we're going to finish up the outside first and then move on to the inside.
Next step is to unhook the truck from the trailer and level the trailer front to back. I usually always like to have as much wood under the front tongue jack as possible, just so that this doesn't have to extend out any more than it has to, because the taller this gets, we've noticed, the more unstable it is, and it'll, you know, it has the tendency to rock back and forth more. So I've got this nice big railroad tie that I usually use as my block of wood under the tongue jack. Yeah, and we have to lift the front up, so I have it just literally just as close as that, or stacked up, just so it's just barely under that. So we'll go ahead and start bringing this up, and then Jenni is gonna go inside and watch a leveler that's placed on the ground, right, Jenni?
Yes.
Yep, on the floor inside, and as I crank this up, she'll tell me when to stop once we're level. Now we're all level, so I can go ahead and secure the hitch of our trailer. I run a padlock through the latch, and then we put this Blaylock hitch lock there, so that actually goes like this. So our someone can't just hook up to our trailer and tow it away while we're not here. We've got two locks on that would need to be gotten through. And then we stabilize the trailer by dropping our stabilizers down on the ground. And we always put something under the stabilizers, a block of wood, typically, just so the stabilizer doesn't push into the ground, especially on this soft sand. It just wouldn't be as stable if it didn't have this big of a foot pad. And also, even with something like this, we have noticed that after a few days, I'll have to come back out and retighten the stabilizers. We'll notice that in the trailer, we'll kind of get some rocking when we're moving around. It just feels less stable. So, and something else I read is that you typically want your stabilizers to be at an angle similar to this. You don't want them to be, you know, really close. This is about a good amount of travel of the stabilizer. If it's too big, if it's too tall, then these arms are very straight, and I've read that it doesn't stabilize the trailer as much. So you'll see up front, I've actually stacked up a lot more wood under those stabilizers because they're a lot higher off the ground to keep them toward this kind of optimal angle. And then to further stabilize the rig, we get the xtalks back on between the tires. This baby ain't going nowhere. Then we throw the wheel covers back on to protect our wheels against UV damage. Get them to last as long as possible. Then we roll out our rug. Keep some of this dust out of the inside of the trailer. One zero gravity chair, 2 0 gravity chairs. Little fold out end table. There. And I was actually a little out of order. Before I put the wheel covers on, I meant to put these bike locks back through the rims so that while we're away, we can lock down our chairs. And the very last thing I do before I'm all done setting up the outside is I go up on the roof and I either tilt the solar panels back up if it's in the winter, but it's we're just coming into April right now, so I'm done tilting the panels for the season because tilting them gives a very marginal increase in power in the spring, and then in the summer, as we go into the summer, it actually reduces efficiency by tilting them up. So Today I'm just gonna clean them because this is a very dusty environment that we drove the RV through, and where we just came from was incredibly dusty too, so I'm sure they're quite dirty. And to get up on our roof, since our trailer didn't come with a ladder, nothing on the back, we actually have this extend and climb ladder, and we love it. It's so small, it's incredibly light, it's made out of aluminum, and it just telescopes up just like that. I love this thing. And after that, my part of setup is all done.
No, it's not.
What?
You gotta put Lola and Perp outside.
How could I forget Lola and Perp? There you go. Now I'm done. It's your turn to get ready.
All right. Very first thing I do in the trailer after taking care of the pets is I open all of the cabinets. We've had a couple mishaps where we've opened the fridge too fast and a whole carton of eggs is gone now. So.
Thank you for saying we.
You're welcome, but you just kind of gave it away as to who it is. So I always start and I open all the cabinets real slow.
All right, good.
Nothing fell out of that one. And these ones, they just typically kind of get, all the cups fall down and stuff. Now if you have any glassware, you're gonna wanna be extra careful of it. We have had glasses break before, so what we do is we put koozies between our glasses to keep them from breaking each other. I'm not taking my chances. I always stick my arm in here first.
I'm just glad you're doing it. Maybe we should get those bars that go across.
I think we should. They make tension bars that you can get for in your cabinets or in your fridge, and they just kind of tighten like a shower curtain rod against the walls, and it's just kind of an extra barrier for an area so that things don't fall out. So I don't know, that's probably a good idea. And then we're good. The last cabinet, I knew that one was stuffed. Nothing was coming out of that one. All right, once I am done double checking that nothing is going to fall out of our cabinets, I start on the side that I ended on. So I'm gonna start over here. I'm gonna get everything up off the floor and put away, and then slowly move back to the nose of the trailer. Just in reverse order, you know? Once I'm done with the desk area, I move on to the bathroom and I start putting everything in its rightful place and hanging all of my baskets back up. And then the last, very last thing of stuff I have to finish putting away, I can't do right now because there's a buttery kitty up top. Can you come to your spot right here? Come on. Well, come on. There we go. And I just put all of our baskets back up here. And they're all nice and out of the way. And the bed, not right there.
Oh!
Over there.
Yeah, Butters has a bit of an attitude.
She's a little bit of a grump. And there. We are...
Is that it?
We are all done inside. Now, as you can imagine, the things I do inside don't take as long as the things that David does outside. So once I'm done inside, I'll typically make lunch or dinner. And obviously play with an alley cat.
Wait, we have one last thing to do.
What is that? Are you gonna get that? Are you getting that? I almost completely forgot. The very last thing we do when we're all done setting up at a campsite is we christen our door with whatever dream catcher is relevant to the month. This is April, and in April the holiday is Easter, and this is also my spring dream catcher. So I'm gonna go ahead and hang it on the door.
Yay! All done.
All done. So we are going to go ahead and enjoy the rest of our afternoon with the pets outside in this nice warm sunshine. Now we use a lot of gear, we have a lot of RVing accessories that were shown in this video. Those are all available on Amazon, so we're gonna go ahead and drop links in the description below to all of those on Amazon. And also, we're Amazon affiliates, so if you do go through our links, it does actually help out the channel. So we're gonna go ahead and enjoy the rest of our afternoon. We'll catch you guys later.